Morning, everybody. How are we? Welcome to, we're in the AttentionMedia studios and we are going live for a new segment which we have coined the Social Update. So the idea of the Social Update, it's a weekly live streamed show that we're going to be bringing to you to keep you updated on everything that's happening in the social media world. And there is so much that's happening at the moment. Regardless of what's happening in the world with the pandemic, the social media world, the digital marketing world, it keeps on moving, it keeps on evolving, it keeps on changing. There's legislation that's being thrown into the mix. There's platforms that are going to be banned. There's heaps of stuff that's happening. So the idea of this show is that once a week, we come together, we go live, and we bring you the most important changes that have happened over the past week and the things that you need to know about as a business owner, as a content creator, as somebody that uses social media to help you stay updated with what's going on. So we're very excited. We hope you enjoy the new format, the new show. And as I mentioned, it will be a weekly live stream. So guys, we are going to kick into it straight away. But what we'd love you to do before we do that is if you are watching this live, please drop a like, drop a comment, let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to know whereabouts you are in the world. And if you have any mates or anybody that owns a business and you think they could get some value from an episode like this, a show like this, please also tag them in the comments or share it out with your network. That would be greatly appreciated. We're also live on Instagram this morning, so we're live on multiple platforms. And let's get straight into the topic for today. We've got three big topics that we're going to be covering today. And the first one is one that I'm sure most people have come across now if you've opened up your browser, your internet browser over the past few weeks and opened up Google. Google will have hit you with some sort of notification by now around how there is some legislation that has been thrown into the mix here in Australia that is going to shake things up quite dramatically and not in a good way. So what's happened is that the ACCC has legislated, wants to bring in what they are calling the media bargaining laws, right? So essentially, in a nutshell, what they are proposing is that the big tech companies, Google and Facebook, and particularly in this case, obviously impacting Google, they are going to be required to pay the big traditional media companies in Australia for their news content, right? So instead of Google just being able to offer its services for free and doing what it does now, like we all use Google every single day in multiple ways, but now the ACCC is legislating that things need to change in order to protect big media in Australia, right? So we're talking the big news networks, the big media corporations, to make it a fair and level playing field, right? The problem is, though, it doesn't really stack up to make it a fair and level playing field when the big media companies are being given preference and the big tech companies, such as Google, are going to have to give the big media companies preference and pay for, above what they're doing now, pay for the news that is being produced, the original stories that these news corporations are producing, right? So, there's a lot of different implications, but what is a little bit scary is when this legislation can just be, thrown into the mix and, the agenda is being forced pretty hard, and it will change. If it is to pass, it will definitely change the way that the Google offers its services, right? Across the whole Google network, across YouTube. It's going to change the types of content that they can provide you, or the preference and the order in which the content that you see, instead of it just being up to the algorithm as it currently is. Google's algorithm is to provide you with the best result based on your search, right? So it's all based around you, the user, and the data they have about you and providing you with the most appropriate and the best results that they possibly can. That is potentially going to be impacted in a big way because they're going to have to start preferencing and potentially giving access to data and all sorts of things to the big media companies, right? So that is something that is definitely worth looking at, reading, and investigating. There's lots of petitions that are going around that you can sign to say that you don't agree with it, you don't approve of this legislation. But would really love to get your thoughts and feedback on whether you think this is a good thing or a bad thing. So that's it in a nutshell. And feel free to dive into some more detail. Do a bit of searching online. You'll find lots and lots of information around it very, very easily. So that's the big thing to keep in mind at the moment is Google and the media bargaining laws that are being legislated. Now, the next big piece of news in the social update this week is TikTok. Right, TikTok is a massive talking point at the moment as well, for many, many reasons. But basically, again, and I'm sure if you have been online over the past couple of months, you will have seen this gradually become more and more of an issue, more of a talking piece. But ever since President Trump announced that he wasn't super happy with TikTok and its popularity in the US, its ties to its parent company, which is Chinese owned, right? There has been lots of back and forth, lots of threats, I suppose, in the fact that data security and data privacy is a massive thing. And Trump is not happy about the fact that TikTok is super, super popular and it's exploding and it's going to continue to grow, but it's a Chinese-owned company, right? So political tensions and stuff going on there. But what does that mean when Trump goes, we're going to ban TikTok? It's already been banned in India, and Trump comes out and says, we're going to ban TikTok as well. So massive implications because it is a super popular platform. Creators have jumped on that platform and are finding huge success. So very interesting space there. The developments on that and where that's all sort of up to, it's changing by the day, right? So Trump announced that it needed to be, something had to be done. Like, it had to be, the American operations had to be taken over by an American company by a certain date in September, and that's just skipped my memory, but it's coming up very, very quickly. So there's a couple of companies that have said, they've put their hand up and said, we'll buy the American operations of TikTok, and that includes Microsoft, it includes Oracle, and even Triller, which is another, it's almost like a TikTok competitor, right? It's another app. Jump on and have a look at that one. You can see that in the App Store. It's gaining some popularity as well. But they've gone to an American investment firm and said, hey, we're going to, we'll offer $20 billion to buy TikTok, the American operations, right? So there's massive potential and there's lots of things going on there as well. And I think we're in a really unique period in time where we're going to see more of this sort of stuff happening with social media companies, with tech, because we're in unprecedented waters, right? We haven't. Social media it's new in a sense, right? And all this sort of stuff, the popularity, the data that's collected, and just the level of access and everything, it's unprecedented. We've never been in a period in history where these tech companies have so much power and data and popularity, right? So this type of thing is going to be ever evolving. We've seen what's happened with Facebook over the last couple of years, and it's just going to keep being a thing that evolves into the future, right? Laws and legislations and all that sort of stuff is going to be ever evolving, and it's just something that we have to try and stay on top of. And we can help with the social update to provide you with the updates and the latest stuff that's going on in that area. So TikTok, that's another big one. Keep that in the front of your mind. Number 3, the third thing that we wanted to bring up today in the social update is Facebook and the iOS 14 update that is coming. So as everybody knows, if you're an Apple user or you're not, hope you are if you're on the if you're not on the dark side. But iOS 14 is due to be released later this year as well. Now, Facebook have actually come out and said that there is going to be an issue there between Apple's new update with iOS 14 requiring people to opt in to allowing data to be collected across Facebook's audience network, right? So inside of Facebook, there are multiple ways and placements for advertisements, right? Facebook ads, right? You have newsfeed, you have stories, you have Messenger, and you have Instagram, and you also have a thing called Audience Network, which is all of the apps and websites that Facebook can tap into to show ads on, right? So that Audience Network, which is a really large portion of the platform, is potentially going to be have its hands tied behind its back, because users with the iOS 14 update are now going to have to opt in and actually manually say, yes, I'm going to allow you to track my data in order for ads to be shown across Audience Network, right? So that's a massive thing. And Facebook have come out and basically said that, that's going to cut revenue, their ad revenue in a massive way. And even to the point where they have mentioned that it might almost not be worth advertising across Audience Network. Like, that is a huge statement to make. So again, it's just things keep evolving and changing in terms of data and privacy and these tech companies and social media platforms. So one thing I just wanted to add to that, though, is, we can oftentimes get, get a little bit too worried about our data and security. Not too worried, but I think what we have to remember is that we use these platforms on a day-to-day basis, right? Technology is going to keep evolving. The Internet of Things keeps growing, right? We now have internet connected to things like our fridge and all sorts of things, right? Technology keeps evolving and trying to take the friction out of day-to-day life. And when it comes to things like social media platforms, voice technology, the more data that these platforms are able to access from you, the better they can tailor the experience for you as an individual, right? So by all means, you are more than free to, opt out of, websites tracking your data. When the iOS 14 update comes out, you can opt out of allowing, Facebook to use that audience network to reach you. But the caveat to that is the fact that any ads that you do get shown, or material, or anything that happens on the internet, is going to be less relevant the more data you withhold, right? So that's something just to keep in mind, is that, of course, data privacy is extremely important, but when it comes to allowing platforms like Facebook or websites to track your activity and your data and your movements, that is all around creating an ecosystem where the most relevant content, advertisements, whatever it might be, is shown to you, right? So it's tailoring your experience and making it more personal and user-friendly and more relevant to yourself. So that's just one piece of advice to keep in mind when it comes to allowing or not allowing social media platforms and websites and all that sort of stuff to track your data. So that's it, guys. That is the 3 big updates that we wanted to bring to you today. I hope that provided some insight, some value. What we'll do is we're going to keep you posted. We're obviously going to keep monitoring the situation across all of these different areas. We'll keep you posted on future episodes, and we're also going to be diving into other platforms, like what's happening on Instagram, what's happening with Snapchat, all those sorts of good things to make sure that you are updated on all things social media. And as always, if you've got any questions, got any comments, please do feel free to drop them in the comments below. We'd love to answer them for you. We'd love to continue the conversation. And if you have any suggestions, if there's anything in particular that you want to see on the social update in future episodes, would love you to also drop that into the comments below. So that's it, guys. That was the first episode, the social update. We'll be back next Tuesday with a brand new episode with more updates to keep you updated and have your finger on the pulse when it comes to all things social media and digital marketing. Thanks for watching.